Hello again and welcome to FAX Chat, our new little talk show on Halifax Rugby League's YouTube channel. This week I'm joined by Craig Poskitt. Thanks for joining me this week, Craig.
No worries, Sam.
You've been sending in your questions all week for Craig, so without further ado I'll begin. David wants to know on Facebook, Craig, he says, we've had a brilliant season so far, but what David wants to know is, will we be going full-time next season, or will that depend on what position we're finishing in the league?
Yeah, I think it does depend on what position we finish in the league. I think from our point of view, the aim is to be full time. That's dictated by funds, revenues, central distribution. So there's quite a big gap between third, fourth, down to fifth, sixth, etc. So it can sort of rely on that. But there are other sort of irons in the fire, certainly commercially and with funding opportunities that we're also looking at. We don't want to just sit about and think, if we don't finish in the top four, what we're going to do. We've got a couple of other options, and again, at board level that'll be discussed and a decision will probably be made, more towards the end of the season.
Brilliant. Rob also first wants to know, how is the sponsorship side of things going within the club, and what comparisons can we be drawn with other championship clubs to see how we're doing with that?
Yeah, I'm pretty pleased where we are at the moment. I think same as anything else, it's probably similar to a new business. In the first 12 months you're sort of finding your feet and seeing where things are and how things have previously been done. But I think we're sort of in front of targets, and we've got a lot of new commercial partners tied up for next year, which will be announcing in due course. But certainly from this year, we've got some quite sizable companies that's been involved with the club, and hopefully they will grow. Just to touch on that, please keep an eye on the website and certainly FAX TV for a substantial announcement in the next few days, maybe a week, for a main partner, which is a 3-year deal, and that's certainly fantastic news for the club.
Good. Look out for that, as Craig says. And again, kind of tied in with that question, Dwayne wants to know, how is the club shaping up financially for next season? Kind of similar to what you've already touched on, I suppose.
Yeah, I think from my point of view, the people that's involved at the club, the current directors, are certainly not the type of people that will spend money they haven't got. That doesn't always sometimes fit with the fans, and fans want success pretty quickly. But this is the third club I've been involved with over the last sort of 10 years, and I can say without doubt that the guys that's in charge of the club here, substantial is probably the wrong words, but I think from our point of view, sustainability is key, and we certainly won't run before we can walk. But there's things that there's people working hard, and the board of directors, the investment that they've put in previous years is phenomenal. We shouldn't forget that. But certainly from my point of view, that's something that we'd hope that doesn't continue.
Is that difficult to manage the expectations of the fans when there's already 3 full-time clubs in the league? Do you find that quite hard to work alongside?
Well, it is. Certainly the full-time environment, I think the main sort of difference would be the rest periods that the players get, and I think from training wise out on the fields, Richard had certainly said that there's probably just about as much time spent out there as a part-time player as it would be as a full-time, but there's a rest there's a rest element and diets, etc., which works around times of training, etc., which is different. So from an expectations point of view, and currently sitting fourth, behind certainly Liam Bradford, who's full-time, and Sheffield's got a sizable amount of full-time players, I think we're doing very, very well.
And that nicely leads on to the next question. An unnamed Twitter account wants to know, do you think we still can finish in the top 4? Obviously in quite a strong position at the moment, and leading on to this Saturday.
Yeah, I have many a banter with Ian Crowd about where we should be and where we expect to be, but certainly from the last month or so, where we've certainly made our mark, and Richard's got a group of players, not just ability wise but certainly camaraderie wise, that you can see that yourselves, they're very close knit group, and from our point of view, and personally, I think that we've got a real strong chance of finishing in that top 4. You look at the other teams running and our running, with own fixtures, etc. I think we're in a good position. But what I would say is that the expectation of the club is very high. But I think from where we are now, we've done very well. and if we don't finish into the top four, you know, I would certainly see the season as being a successful season.
Good stuff. The next one from Joe on Twitter wants to know, are you enjoying your time at the club, and how has Halifax been different to a previous club of yours in Featherstone? What have you found different?
Well, firstly, yeah, enjoyed it immensely. Yeah, my previous club's Castleford and Featherstone. I'm a Castleford lad, so you know, working for your hometown club and then working for a club that's, you know, within a 3-mile radius, it certainly does affect your social life. And you know, you go out for a beer and everybody wants to talk about this and talk about that and asking questions. So I think it's a bit of a breath of fresh air that, you know, I'm out of the local area and certainly can enjoy different things in and around Halifax. And it's certainly, in my opinion, a sleeping giant. There's no two ways about it. There's a fantastic infrastructure in place now that we've been putting together in the last few months, and that will come to fruition certainly moving towards next season. You know, I've been to Thrumall. I've actually played for Halifax A team for a few times in 1997 and played at Thrumall. You know, there's been 8, 9, 10,000 there. The place in and around Halifax, you know, is absolutely, you know, rugby mad, and I think that you know, one of my focuses is certainly to bring the football and the rugby closer as well. You know, commercially, speaking to, you know, blue chip clients in and around London and those areas, for me to, you know, develop a portfolio that includes, you know, football, council and rugby, it's certainly a big tick. You know, I think it's suicidal that that's not happening at the moment, and you know, I hope somebody from the football actually does watch this, because I've been trying to get in touch for quite a while and that's not been forthcoming. But I will continue to do that, and we've got a couple of deals on the table that includes the council and the football, and hopefully those will be tied up shortly. But it's certainly the way forward. As I said, commercially, you know, football, rugby, council, you know, you're reaching a lot more people. I think we should be working together, in my opinion. Yeah. Some people out there won't like that, but that's, you know, we all have the interests of the club at heart, and I think, you know, to have the football and the council, as I said, in tow, then it can only be better.
I agree, Craig, I do. And Gareth on Twitter wants to know, if you were in the Super League now and you had an unlimited budget, who would your marquee signing be and why?
Yeah, I'm not the coach, but certainly from my point of view, I wouldn't have a marquee signing. I don't agree with the marquee signing, and certainly from, you know, being involved at Super League for a few years and you know, top end championship, I think that, you know, I'd much rather invest in the youth, the local youth, and bring those through as homegrown players rather than spend a quick buck in 1 or 2 years on a marquee signing. So I wouldn't sign anybody on a marquee signing. I think that if we're in a position of a, you know, a sustained club and substantial amounts of investment that's helping run the club, then if we're in a position to sign, you know, marquee players, then we'll do it in our own ways. I don't think that, you know, allowing £175,000 to be, you know, to sign a marquee player is the way forward, and it's certainly something that I wouldn't recommend to you know, to other guys at the club.
Good stuff. And finally, Pete wants to know, what can we do to attract more fans to the Shea? He says that the attendances have been quite steady this season, but he says that, you know, you touched it there, you've seen 8,000 or 9,000 at Thrumall before, you know. What can we do to get 8,000 or 9,000 back?
I think it mirrors the commercial side. I think, you know, when I joined the club, you know, Pete McNamara has done a fantastic job in the local area, you know, with sponsors. But, you know, the next step was, you know, was there to be had, and, you know, we're halfway up there now with blue chip companies and substantial, you know, sponsorship deals. But to attract that, we've got to be successful, and we've got to give a product that people enjoy. Now, the more commercial revenue, the grants that we've applied for at the minute, we've got over £400,000 worth of grants pending. So, you know, in the next few months, we expect those, you know, to come to fruition. So again, it's all about the product on the pitch, and everything we do, certainly commercially, you know, in my point of view, the club's got to be sustainable, but the product on the pitch means people will come through the turnstiles, and if that product's at a high standard, then we'll get more people. The people are there, and I understand some of the frustrations from previous, but to get where we need to be, we need the fans now. We've put we've put something out from the chairman on Monday about getting to Keighley. You know, I think from my point of view, it starts now. We've had a real good month. You know, 4 wins. We've racked up, I think, 90 points against Featherstone and Dewsbury. There's little for people to moan about now, and I know people will. It's the same at every club. You get a minority of people that's never happy. But at the moment, it's a good place to be. The fans should sort of, you know, join the players and the board and you know, staff, you know, and sing from the rooftops, because the more we do that, the more interest will be, you know, will be sort of, you know, coming to the club. And I think it's been disappointing, some of the attendances, but on a whole I think quite a lot of other clubs are disappointed. And, you know, the economic state's not the best, but as I said, if we've got if somebody's got 20 quid in the pocket to spend down at the pub, and we've got a product that's more enjoyable, then they'll spend it here. And I think that's the aim for us. Certainly from Richard's point of view, the rugby is very, very attractive. You know, I don't think anybody can knock that. I think he's got some fantastic tries at Dewsbury, and I've watched the DVD of Featherstone. I was on holiday, as you know, but certainly some of the tries has been fantastic. So, you know, the product has improved dramatically. The club itself has improved dramatically. We've got people involved at the club. You know, I want to mention the executive committee that I formed when I joined the club. Andy Bings, Mark Rose, Howard Crowler and Gaz Bajan have all brought a different skill set to the day-to-day business, you know, that sort of recommends and discusses things with the board of directors and chairman Michael Steele. And I think, you know, from our point of view, it's been really positive, and that will only grow. And the more people that we get involved that's got different skill sets, and you know, the people that you surround yourself with, you know, the better skill sets and class of people, it can only be good for the club. So you know, to conclude, the club's in a very good position. It's been put in that position in previous years by the current board of directors, personal investment, and we mustn't forget that. But you know, as we grow now, we're hoping that the Halifax Rugby League become the force that they used to be in the late 80s and whatever, and we start bringing the good times back to the Shay.